Hey, welcome back to the In Between the Lines podcast. I'm Jake with my co-host Jeff. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, what's going on, Jake? How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm a little disappointed after this weekend, man. A little disappointed.
A lot to talk about. If you don't mind, I'm gonna dive right in. I'm pissed off, man. I'm pissed off about my Bears. I know they can't do nothing right on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line is atrocious. It's horrible. They're not protecting Caleb at all. This cat threw the ball 37 times with 23 completions. 37 times, man. This not Dan Marino. This is not Tom Brady. This is not Peyton Manning. This is a rookie quarterback, and you got him throwing the ball 37 times. I think we only ran the ball 23 times. And I mean, and Houston Texans are a good football team, man. That defense is laying like that. We still had a chance to win the game. That's how I know our team is pretty good. The leadership is just horrible. The Bears don't know how to develop a quarterback. They've never, ever been able to develop a quarterback. And I don't see nothing changing right now. This Shane Waldron guy was supposed to be the savior. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to say I'm a Bears fan tonight. This is atrocious, man. It's horrible. And anybody that's just going to blame Caleb, you really don't know football. I can't put it all on Caleb like that. Can he make some better throws? Yes. Did he miss some, some open receivers? He did. But I mean, as soon as he snaps the ball, man, they in his face. I did see improvement. I mean, with just him walking up to the line and doing the audibles and everything, changing the play, taking control was a huge improvement. Watching the game, I heard Chris Collinsworth, say, what Caleb Williams is doing. I didn't think he would be doing this until halfway through the season. So, improvements, yes, but man, they got to figure something out and figure it out fast. I ain't want to just start out on a rant like this, man, on a tangent, but man, this was bad, man. And I had to work too, so I'm sneaking in different places, watching the game, and I'm like, oh my God, man, I got excited for this.
Well, I watched the whole thing. How the first quarter started out, I agree. I thought he looked a lot better than he did last week. Like, one of the things that I had said from last week was it looked like he was throwing on his back foot a lot, and he wasn't doing that in the first quarter. I think he had more passing yards in the first quarter than he did the previous game.
Right.
No, seriously, he did. But one of the things that I was still noticing, though, is he's not throwing the ball downfield. I mean, all those completions were little short dump offs, which is fine because, like I said, there is no protection there. I think I read that he was getting rid of the ball within 2.57 seconds or something like that, which is like the sixth fastest. But he was getting pressured. I think you said he dropped back 37 times. He got pressured 36 of those times.
Right. I mean, I don't know any quarterback that's gonna perform well under those conditions. I don't. I mean, name them. The greatest quarterbacks, they not gonna perform like that. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, they would go the whole season getting sacked 7 times.
Right.
6 times, and this is happening in one game. So you gotta protect the young kid, man. He's a rookie.
Well, I know you said last week we discussed it. What do they have to do to get him better? And one of the things you said they had to protect him and they had to run the ball. He is, after 2 games, he's their leading rusher with like 50 yards. That's a problem.
Man,
Because I don't think he's as good of a runner as Justin Fields was either. So, I mean, I think he's more of a pocket passer. So,
right.
I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Justin, he 2-0 up there with the Steelers.
I know, right?
But
I know, right?
But I gotta say, he's not the reason that they're winning. I mean, he's not losing it, but it's not like he playing lights out. I think he threw the ball 17 times.
Let me ask you this, though. So, I heard Bill Belichick talking about it, and Bill Belichick was actually criticizing Foles, or Poles. Is it Poles?
Poles.
He was criticizing Poles that he prioritized getting receivers and weapons instead of prioritizing getting an offensive line. And,
okay,
one of the things with Justin Fields, Justin Fields struggled because of that offensive line too. He was basically having to run for his life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know it's way early, but what would you say? Do you think it would have been better for the Bears to keep Fields and try to develop, or not develop, but draft and get some offensive linemen to protect him?
That's a hard question to answer. I was a Justin Fields guy. I still like Justin Fields. I'm not saying that we should have got rid of him, but it was talks coming out the locker room that what's the quarterback we had, the one that won the Super Bowl for Philly,
Nick Foles.
Yeah. So it's it was talks coming out like he was trying to help Justin out in the quarterback room, with filming it and everything, and he wasn't receptive of it, and I think Andy Dalton too. It was more than one that tried to really help Fields, and he just really kind of just relied on his athleticism.
I forgot Andy Dalton was there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Justin Fields wasn't really great at reading defenses.
Right.
So when I started hearing that type of getting that information, I was like, oh man, it's time for him to ride. No player is going to be successful if you're not watching film.
Right.
Offensive lineman, quarterback, you name it, whatever position, you got to watch the film. And if he wasn't receptive to that, I don't know why. I don't know if he didn't like being in Chicago. I don't know if that's just his attitude, period. But that's not going to work on any team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everybody in the NFL has talent and athleticism. So, I agree. You got to do something to step
right.
up.
Yeah. So I hope he does well, over there in Pittsburgh. I think they have a better organization. Mike Tomlin has never went below 500 in a season or something. So that's crazy in itself. But I know when Poles got there, he had to get from under a lot of bad contracts and things like that. I don't think I would have paid Justin a big contract at in the position that we were in. We got rid of Roquan. He was due to get paid. Khalil Mack. I think he just wanted to start over, get younger, and spend that money, in better places. So I think Poles overall has done a good job of bringing in talent. He did draft Darnell Wright, with a first round pick last season. He got rid of some bad offensive linemen we had, and he was supposed to bring in newer and younger talent, but it's not showing up on the field right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think, and another thing, and I realized this last season, they took a preseason game away and added one to the regular season, and teams are not playing their starters in the preseason, and I think that's a detriment to the team. Especially a young team, they need all of the practice and snaps they can get. So I think that's an issue. There's a lot of issues going on with that team on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm hoping the next 3 games are all winnable games.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Right. Well, as I told somebody this week, there's not an easy game in the NFL. I mean, any team can beat any team at any time. That's why you see so many games that are decided by a score or less. And it's very rare that you get that blowout like Dallas getting blown out by the Saints, which I love to see, by the way. But it's usually 1-score games. So, like I said, it usually comes down to a couple plays here and there. So, like I said, there's no easy games. I mean, every game is winnable.
Right. And as bad as we played, to get down to the end and still have a chance to win the game, that was impressive. I was like, wow, I can't even believe we still in this, But we had another drop TD pass, but we still scored on that same possession with a run play. But
right. Now, you said you didn't get to watch the whole game because you were working, so you're just kind of catching it when you could. Did you ever watch the full game?
I did. I did actually watch the whole second half at work.
Well, you want me to edit that out? I'm sure it was just on in the background. Somebody else was watching it, right?
Right. It was, didn't no calls come through. It was an easy night, man. So, yeah, I didn't miss much of it. I'll say that.
Well, one of the things that I noticed as I was watching it, and there's been some chatter about it this week as well, was DJ Moore looked visibly frustrated with Caleb Williams, and there was some talk that he had actually said some things. They kind of showed him talking to the backup quarterback Badgett, and it looked like it said that he can't do it or something like that, which he denied. But I mean, I think the clip itself kind of speaks for itself. What do you think about that? Do you think there's any tension going on there? And if there is that a problem?
I think there's some tension, but I just think come on, it's all frustration. Receivers are prima donnas anyway. They want their catches, they want their yards. Some of them. I hate to say this, but as long as they getting they numbers and getting that check, they all good.
Throw me the damn ball, right?
Yeah. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know DJ Moore had over 100 catches last year, 1,400 yards.
Yeah, he had a big season.
Yeah, he had a good season. And it's not starting out that way for him this year.
Right.
But he needs to. He's the veteran. Okay, he needs to help out the young rookie as much as he can. We're not saying you shouldn't be frustrated. Everybody is frustrated. I'm pretty sure from the top all the way down to the players, the fans, everybody is frustrated. But you can't show that. That's not a sign of a good leadership on your part. You just gotta take it, man. You gotta take it. You knew the situation going into the season, so if anything, just help them out. Be encouraging to the team, man. It's not, like you said earlier, it's not easy.
Right.
It's hard to win in the NFL, so you need to be a part of the solution and not the problem.
Now, did you happen to get a chance to watch my Lions at all?
I did get to watch the Lions. I did. I thought they were going to win that game. I knew it was going to be a good game, but I thought I had them winning for sure. But Baker Mayfield, man, he is playing with a chip on his shoulder.
I think he's a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good. I kind of did a reaction video to that game, and I was talking about that. Like I said, I've always liked Baker Mayfield. I think he hasn't gotten a fair shot in a couple places. I think because he's got a cockiness to him that some people just don't like. But I mean, I think he's a hell of a quarterback. He's shifty. He has a good arm. He's accurate. He can get out of the pocket. He's not necessarily a runner, but he can make those plays when he needs to make those plays. I mean, I think he's a dangerous quarterback. And like you said, he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's got something to prove.
Yeah, he's still mad he didn't get the Heisman.
right.
So I mean, this go back from college, man, and I mean, who does good in Cleveland?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, yeah, hell yeah, he got a lot to prove.
I liked before the game they had said, like, I guess him and Jared Goff are somewhat friends, but they had said that they talked to him and he had said, I'm 0-3 against Jared Goff, and he's my buddy and all, but I'm out there, I'm going to go kick his ass this game. And I like that attitude. I love that attitude about him. I felt like we should have won the game, though. I mean, what I was disappointed with, we moved the ball well. I don't like Jared Goff throwing the ball 50 times. Like I said, when you've got that rushing attack, and I get there, and they were kind of talking about it in the game. Tampa Bay's got a good rush defense, and their secondary is banged up. And they said that Jared Goff, this is the team he averages the most yards on in his career. So I get the concept of wanting to pass the ball, but when it wasn't working, and then their nose tackle went out in the second half too, is like, you got to start running the ball. And so I was a little frustrated with that. But even so, the Lions went out of 7 trips inside the red zone, they got 1 touchdown out of that. If they just get 1 or 2 more, that's a completely different ball game.
I don't understand why teams stop running the ball. I don't get it. I mean, that is we kind of old school. We talked about the top running backs and stuff like that. They were the star of the team when we were coming up, and it's just like they just kicking them to the side. That's the foundation, in my opinion, of the offense is the run game. I mean, you run the ball to set up the pass. If you establish that run, play action is working, bootlegs are working, everything starts with running that ball. And what's your guys' offensive coordinator name? Ben Johnson. Come on, man. You know better. You got Montgomery and Gibbs, and you not utilizing that.
I almost feel like he's trying to get a little too cute sometimes. He was the big name, and everything that I had heard, he had all but accepted the Washington job, and then kind of like at the last minute said, no, I'm coming back to Detroit. I got unfinished business. And I was super happy about that, but like I said, I think he might be overthinking and getting in his head a little bit. But Dan Campbell said this week that he was happy with the play calling, and the plan was to pass to open up the run. And I just, like I said, I don't think that. I think you run to open up the pass.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, it didn't work out well. Like I said, I mean, I said at the beginning of the year, the Lions got that target on their back this year. So,
absolutely.
It's going to be different. And like I said, we have Arizona this week, and I don't know if you've seen what Arizona did to the Rams, but it's
I didn't catch any of that. But I'm gonna tell you this: there's always a team that makes the playoffs, and the year after, nothing.
Yeah.
They absolutely disappear. And I'm trying to pick that team. I don't want to pick on Detroit because I know you're a Detroit fan, but it's always a team, that makes all of this noise, and then the next season they don't even come close to the playoffs. And I'm still doing, doing my research and trying to pick that team.
But
Baltimore Ravens are 0-2.
I was going to say, of course, I'm not going to say it's going to be the Lions that are going to do that. I mean, I still think the Lions going to the Super Bowl, goddammit. But I can think of a couple of teams right now, though, that, like you're just saying, like you said, Baltimore's 0-2. Philadelphia blew one last night. I don't know if you saw that against.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, they gave that game away.
They absolutely gave that game away.
Yeah.
But then, what about the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, you could probably stick a fork in them.
So
they just put Tua on IR.
Yeah.
So he's going to at the minimum he's going to miss the next 4 games.
What do you think? Do you think he should retire?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be a question. When he went down, and I seen he kind of like did the curl up again. I said, "Oh nah, man, that's it." I was talking to someone about this, because every show that I seen on ESPN. First Take, Get Up, PTI, they was like, it's ultimately his decision, but he should retire. I get that, but when does the team step in and say, dude, we're not going to continue to take a chance on you. We think it's best that you should retire. Sometimes you have to protect people from themselves.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, I was talking to my wife about it. It's almost like it feels like both Miami and the NFL should kind of step up and say,
right,
we don't want anybody to die on our watch. That's going to be bad for the league,
Absolutely.
let alone bad for Tua and his family. But I read an article, when that happened back in 2022 against Cincinnati, the first big one that he had, where he did that thing with his hands.
Right.
I mean, that was a scary scene. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that before, and
Yeah.
I thought he should retire then.
Yep.
And I was reading an article today where it was talking about, because the article I read today said that he's not considering retiring, that he has no plans on retiring right now, but they had said that he actually considered it back in 2022 when this happened. He had discussed it with his family, but he said it was basically his mom who was urging him not to, or urging him to retire.
Okay.
But he's saying this time around, from what I heard, is that he doesn't have any plans to retire, and I think that's absolutely wild.
Yeah, his family, whoever is in this camp really needs to talk to him about that. And like you said, not only the team, but the NFL should step in and say, no. I mean, the military do it when you can't perform physically. It's time for you to go.
I mean, what happens if he takes another one and dies? I mean, is there any repercussion to the NFL? You think there might be?
Yeah, I don't think it will be, because they not stopping him from playing. But that I think that's something that the players union or association needs to put in place. What athletes, they do this, all their life. This is all they know. You see it in boxing. We've seen it in boxing time and time again. It's time for you to step away, but they still think they can go. Once you lose that little step in boxing, it's a wrap. It's you done. So, and it should be the same way with the NFL, man. Not the same way. I'm saying that someone should step up and say, "Listen, this is it for you." Right. Nobody wants to hear it. No athlete wants to hear that, but it's reality.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. He's 26 years old. He's probably right there in his prime. He's a good player. The team is a good team. I mean, I get him not wanting to, and like you said, just the competitive spirit in him. I mean, I think he plays football because he loves football. And I imagine it would be a hard decision to have to do that. But man, you've got to think about just quality of life, your family. Just like I said, I'm just blown away by it. Like I said, to me, it's very saddening. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I mean, from the concussions he's already had, it's going to affect him long term. Just what he's had already. I mean, that's gonna affect him 5, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. I mean, if he's, if he's still living, that's going to affect him. So I mean, he could retire now and go and get a job with Fox, ESPN, CBS. Somebody will hire him, and he can commentate or, go back to college and work with Alabama. I mean, it's something he can do. Like we said, I know it's hard to, to take that, but come on, you got to consider your life.
And then you even start thinking of situations like, does he end up becoming like Antonio Brown, who kind of went crazy, or even worse, like Junior Seau. I mean, Junior Seau
he committed suicide. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so
there's quite a few of them that committed suicide, after life in the NFL.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this, but I was watching ESPN the other day, and then Bart Scott was speaking, and that was kind of touching listening to him. He said everybody thought, I retired because of my toe. And he said, I'd never shared this with anybody. This is my first time seeing it. He said, I was seeing like flashes, lights and stuff. And he said it was just, he knew that it was time for him to walk away. He could have still played. It wasn't because of his toe. It was because of all of the hits that he was taking.
Yeah.
So, somebody has to protect you from you. And I think that's the case with Tua right now.
Yeah, like I said, to me it'd be an easy decision. But like I said, I guess I'm not the one that's in the middle of an NFL career either. So like I said, I guess you never know how you would react or if you're in that position. But just from the outside looking in, and if that was a family member of mine, I mean, hell, he's not a family member of mine, and I want to retire for his own safety.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Well, I guess moving on, Michigan, they needed to have a step up game after that embarrassment to Texas, and I watched it. What do you think? Was that improvement or no?
I think there was some improvement. The improvement was putting Orgy in. That was the improvement. Warren looked. It was a travesty. But he threw 3 picks.
Well, in fairness, Jeff, somebody caught every ball he threw.
Oh man, I ain't messing with you, man. Oh my God.
He 11 for 14 with 3 interceptions. So, yeah. He doesn't have it. He's not the guy.
Nah, I don't know what Moore was thinking. I mean, we're not there every day in camp, so we don't know what they were seeing. But sometimes, I mean, when Orgy got in there and he started playing, he looked like he was ready.
Yeah.
He looked like he was ready for the moment.
And I really think he brings a whole different dynamic. I mean, they're going to have to kind of change the offense and build around him a little bit because although Sharon Moore was saying, "Oh, you're going to see that he can throw." I don't necessarily believe that because if that was the case, I think he would have already been there. But that doesn't mean he can't be a good quarterback. I think, it's funny, he has, in only throwing 5 or 6 passes this year, he has just as many touchdown passes as Davis Warren. He's got 2. I think the type of plays that he got his touchdown passes are what they need to do. I mean, it's where he kind of rolls out where he's a threat to run and it has to bring some people up, and you have the tight end cross over the middle or a running back cross over the middle, and he's able to just dump it off there, make those defenders. I mean, the defense will have to completely change their whole game plan with him in the game.
Right.
So
right.
whether
he's a dual threat.
Yeah, whether he's a downfield threat or not, and I mean, if you saw that one pass that he overthrew, I mean, he's got a strong arm. And the commentator was saying that, that wide receiver kind of slowed down on his break instead of going for it full. I still think he has to put a little more under that ball, but like I said, it's just kind of like we were saying with Davis Warren that, he just needs some reps. Alex Orji just needs some reps.
Yeah, and you cannot. The worst thing they can do is go back to Warren. Yeah. You need to stick with this decision, man, and just roll with it at this point, because you don't want to keep killing, confidence on these players. So I think they need to stick with Orji, take it slow. As we said before, I know I keep repeating myself. Get the run game going. You got Edwards back there, man.
You know what? Screw Edwards. Not really. I mean, I like Edwards, but Khalil Mullins to me is the running back one.
Okay.
I think Khalil Mullins. He reminds me a lot of Hassan Haskins. He started.
He's fast. He's definitely fast.
He's tough. They both started their careers off as linebackers, so they've got a toughness about them.
Yeah.
He's been way better than Edwards this year. And I keep going back. I was frustrated with Donovan Edwards all year last year because I thought he'd step up last year, and he really did not step up until
the championship.
The championship.
Yeah.
And like I said, really, if you really think about his career, he's played well in some big games where he's had some really big games in those big games, but throughout the rest of the season, he really doesn't. And I heard one of the commentators talking about it. One of the things that makes Donovan Edwards his superpower, I guess, would be, is he's got this burst to him that, like, once he's able to hit that burst, he can be gone. The problem is, and this year, like I said, the offensive line is still struggling. And if they're hitting him in the backfield or he's having to make that first cut in the backfield, he doesn't really get a chance to use that burst.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I wasn't impressed with Michigan at all. Like I said, I was happy to see Orji come in, but they ran the ball well. They ran the ball for 300 yards, but Arkansas State was like the 104th rated rush defense in the country too. So they better have, or it was going to be a real problem. Mm-hmm. But I still didn't see a lot of separation from the receivers. I still didn't see great blocking from the blocking was better, but some of those big runs that Mullins got, it was because he broke a tackle or two. Mm-hmm. But the defense, they kind of clean up in the first drive. They gave up 3 long third down plays, which just had me pulling my hair out, and they kind of stepped it up a little bit. But then later on in the game, there's just a lot of missed tackles. There's a lot of missed assignments, and there are things that they can clean up. But they have a completely different attitude and persona this year than they did last year. I
wanted them to come out and just steamroll them. They should have been up 28-0 at halftime. Mm-hmm. That's the type of performance I was expecting from them. But they got off to a slow start. Yeah, they won. And who's coming up next week? USC.
So, and USC's coming off a bye. So,
and is that in that's in Pasadena?
No, it's in Ann Arbor. So that's one benefit. So to me, there's a couple good things. So there's some things that we can clean up. It's tough for a out west team to come to the East Coast or the East Side or Midwest and play a game. They always struggle with that, and now they have to game plan for Orji, who they haven't really got any film on. So like I said, it's definitely a winnable game, but I mean, we got to improve a lot. But hopefully, this can be that statement game, because then I think we got a game or two break before we play another big time team. But there's some tough teams in the Big Ten. I mean, Illinois, your boys. You keep telling me they got something going on there. They're 3-0 right now.
Yeah, they are.
I think it's 3-0. Michigan State. I mean, Michigan State's got me worried about playing them right now.
Michigan State gonna lose their next 3 or 4 games in a row.
They've got a tough one this week. They play Boston College, so I think that's going to be their first really tough game.
Yeah. Don't worry about Michigan State. They
it's the Michigan State fans that get me. They're obnoxious. Can't stand them. can't stand you guys. Stop talking trash to me.
I think Michigan State fans may be worse than Dallas Cowboy fans.
Ooh, wow. Well, I mean, I dislike them more than Dallas Cowboy fans. Like I said, because I don't know as many Dallas Cowboy fans. Like when I go to work, I'm surrounded by Michigan State fans, and all they want to do is this past week and talk about being 3-0, and even though they played Prairie View School for the Blind, I mean, it's kind of wild. But I mean, they are better than they were last year. That the Aiden Childs is good, but he makes mistakes. But that freshman wide receiver Marsh, he's solid. But
Michigan State does keep a good receiver. I give them that. They keep solid receivers.
Yeah.
That guy Jaden Reed, man, for Green Bay.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was going to be featured like that this year. I thought it was going to be more of Christian Watson, but Jordan Love I think that was week 1 against Philly.
Yeah.
And he tore it up.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, wow.
I couldn't believe it. I wasn't watching it because I'm trying to think what game was on for me. It wasn't that game, but I kept seeing the score, and it was just like, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was blown away because after week 1, I thought, oh shit, Dallas is good. And then, got spanked by New Orleans. And now I'm thinking, oh, New Orleans is good. But it's wild. And like I said, I don't hate to see it. So it was fantastic to see.
Well, it's still, I know everybody keeps saying it's still early in the season.
Yeah.
And that's true because you have teams that start out, pretty fast and, looking good, and halfway through the season, it's like, whoa, what happened? So it really starts getting good to me, after, week 7, 8. You really start seeing teams come together and what they're made of.
Yeah,
it's a lot. We got a lot of football to go.
You definitely don't want to be peaking in week 1 or 2.
Right.
So
exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of overreactions and a lot of underreactions that happen in those first couple weeks. And it's the same thing in college football too, which is why I think it's always silly that they rank teams so early. Because you really don't know what anybody is. You don't know. They don't have an identity yet. Every team is different every year. Like I said, so it's silly. But you did see Florida State lost again, didn't you?
Yeah, I seen they put in a petition for something. I missed that because I wanted to talk about it, but I missed it. But I mean, they cannot say anything about not making the playoffs anymore. What is this? 0-4?
It's 0-3, but I also read it's the first time ever that a team has started off in the top 10, lost their first 3 games to unranked teams. And then did you hear their coach? Their coach this week was like, well, if you started off your season with 3 powerhouses, you'd lose 2. And it's like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Memphis is a powerhouse.
Oh no, I didn't hear him say that.
Yeah, absolutely said that.
Oh my God!
I mean, I almost.
Now you don't say that publicly.
Yeah, I mean, I almost think they should fire him for that. I mean, that's absurd. Absurd.
Yeah, I think I would have canned his ass too.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Now, you said something about the petition thing. Now, I saw something going around. It was fake. It was funny. It said that Florida State was petitioning the NCAA to expand the playoffs from 12 teams to 112 teams.
No, what I seen was a little different from that, but that is funny. oh man, God, yeah, it's a shame. So you got to say that last season was a fluke.
Oh yeah,
it was a fluke season.
Well, they lost a bunch of players. I mean, that was the thing that, when everybody said something about them getting spanked to Georgia. I mean, I think they didn't have 11 starters playing and several people left for the draft. So, I mean, it's not the same team that they had last year, but it still looks bad. I mean, people still think that. I mean, they're still thinking, see, they shouldn't have made it. See, they shouldn't have made it. It's a different team.
College lose a lot of players all the time. I mean, look at Michigan.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of players. They lost and coaches.
Yeah.
Harbaugh took a lot with him, on his way out the door.
Yeah.
They still managed to win a game. There's no excuse why Florida State hasn't won a game yet. I can't give them a pass, on their performance this year. That's unacceptable.
Yeah. Notre Dame came back and played pretty tough, though. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. Notre Dame, what they scored, 66 points, was it?
66-7 against Purdue.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's not Purdue. Purdue don't never lose like that.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen them get blown out.
So I read something after the loss last week to Northern Illinois that they said that a lot of the boosters and stuff like that are trying to petition to get Urban Meyer to come to Notre Dame, because apparently he has said in the past, and then they actually said that he used to structure it in his contracts that he could get out of his contract if his dream job of Notre Dame came available. So
that's his dream job.
That's what I read, but that's on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's true or not. There's a lot of trolls out there, but I did read that a couple times though, that they're saying that they're the boosters and the community is already frustrated with Freeman because he lost to Marshall last year, and then Northern Illinois this year. So that's not something Notre Dame football can do. And so, yeah, that's kind of what they were saying. But you know how rumors get spread. But yeah, I did read something like that. So
yeah, that's the other team. I've always had a thing for Notre Dame.
Really?
Yeah, Chicago always covered Notre Dame. That's that's the media market. They always had some players that I liked here and there. I'm not walking around with Notre Dame gear on or nothing like that, but I don't hate them. The only thing, the thing I do hold against Notre Dame is that they never joined a conference. That was the thing that really ticked me off with them. They would play Michigan. They had played Michigan State. But they took them off of the schedule completely. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of that was soft, man, and I didn't like that. And they're still independent
in football. Yeah, they I think in basketball they're with the ACC, which is kind of weird, but yeah, in football they're still independent.
No, that's got to change.
Yeah,
that's got to change. And I wouldn't even put them, if they had an unbelievable undefeated season. I don't even think I will put them in the national championship game just because of that.
Yeah. Well, they're moving to all these super conferences too, so I think eventually they're going to have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they the only? Is there any other teams that's independent like that?
Yeah, there's a couple. I just don't remember who they are offhand. But yeah,
Okay.
there's a couple. Now, are you into UFC at all?
I'm not. If there's a big fight, I will watch it. I'll
Okay.
say that. I'm
You like
horrible
boxing
at.
though, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So the I'll kind of transition into that. But so there was a big UFC this past
Hmm.
weekend. It was at the Sphere in Vegas, and I don't know if you saw any of the videos or posts of that, but the inside of that place was fucking awesome. How they had it set up. I mean, it was fine. They had Joe Rogan looking up at the sky, and he looked like he was high, and he was in the best place in his life. But it was really cool to see that. I want to go there and just experience something. But
Yeah.
the main event was Sean O'Malley, and he ended up losing. And from what I understand, it was kind of a boring fight. But the funniest thing in that whole thing, and I've got a picture of it, was how sometimes in big events they'll post pictures of like celebrities that are attending the event. And stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
So they posted this picture, and the guy looked familiar to me, but it had a picture of him, and it was like Kendrick Lamar, Grammy Award winning musician, and it totally was not Kendrick Lamar. And I remember looking, I was like, "That's not Kendrick Lamar, what the hell?" But it was Terrence Crawford. Bud Crawford.
Oh.
So it was kind of funny, and they were trying to show a picture of like the Kendrick Lamar cover from Damn, where he's laying there on the couch, and I
Right.
guess kind of it looked like him a little bit there, but I mean, like I said, if you know either one of you know it's not him. But so that's kind of what I was going to transition into. Crawford is calling for Canelo right now, and I guess Canelo had a fight this week too, and looked
Yeah.
down on it, but it doesn't sound like Canelo has any interest in it. But what do you think? I mean, do you pay attention to it enough to what would your thoughts
Man,
on a
that
fight
would
like that be?
be man, that would be awesome. I would take off to see that fight. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that'd be a great one, man. I would love to. And he should take that, man. That would be a big payday.
Well, and so what I was reading about it, because I was trying to figure out why he wouldn't be interested in that, and they had said that right now Canelo's not really interested in super fights unless it pays a ton of money. But to me, it seems like that would pay a ton of money. I'm just wondering if they could get the splits right or something like that. But who do you think would win that fight?
Well, I think it'll be Crawford for sure. He would go in as the favorite, the A card, the A side.
You think he would be the favorite?
Terrence Crawford?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. He'll
Wait.
be the favorite.
Well, Canelo's a lot bigger than he is. That's one of the issues.
That don't mean nothing.
Really, that's
Nah.
interesting.
Yeah. Stick
I,
and move, baby. Stick and move.
Well, I was thinking about it because I was trying to envision that fight in my head as well, and like I said, Canelo's a lot big. It's definitely a clash in styles. There's no doubt about that. But I guess I'm kind of thinking about did you see the Canelo Mayweather fight?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Mayweather destroyed him.
Well, I wouldn't say it was he didn't destroy him, but he definitely won. And I mean, there wasn't any question about it. But
Yeah.
I almost feel like it would kind of be like that fight. I mean, Canelo couldn't hit him, and I almost feel like that would be the issue. Is
Yeah.
Crawford might be
That's
too fast for him.
and that's typical when you fight Floyd. You
Yeah.
can't hit him.
Right.
I think it would be more of a brawl with Terrence Crawford and Canelo, because Crawford is not going to move like Floyd moved.
Yeah.
I think I think that'd be a great matchup, though.
I would love to see it. Like I said, I agree. I mean, I would definitely. I haven't paid for a pay-per-view fight in a while, but I think I would pay for that one.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that Crawford was calling for him like that.
Yeah,
and I just don't understand why. I don't understand why you would turn that down. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's almost shown no interest in it at all. Like I said, he's already called for. He's calling for that Bivol guy, which is the last guy that beat him a couple years ago. It was a close fight, and the Bivol's heavier than he is too. But it was a close fight.
Yeah.
I thought Bivol won, but it was. I mean, it wasn't. It was a close fight. It was within a round or two, but Canelo thinks he won, obviously. But he's asking for that.
That fight was how long ago?
Maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But Bivol's still undefeated.
Okay.
He's a good fighter, Dimitri Bivol. He's like 23-0 right now, I think, and he's heavier too. Canelo fought up a weight class to fight him.
Yeah, but that's such a long gap for a rematch. Mm-hmm. You know,
well, them boxers, man, they only fight, and especially the high level guys. They only seem to fight like once a year now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Crawford got to find somebody to fight. You know, he had his last fight was last year, and
it was within
June.
this past year.
Yeah.
He's good. He's fun to watch. I would love to see that fight. I'm kind of like begging for it now that I've heard it. You know.
Yeah. It was something else I wanted to talk about. To swing back to the NFL, I kind of wanted to go through every division and pick a favorite to win that division.
Okay, you got the divisions up. I can prop them up right now. Let's see. You've already done this?
I kind of went through it just a little bit, but I kind of wanted to wait for you.
Okay. All right, I'll look at it.
But I do got it pulled up, starting out with the AFC.
Okay, I got it.
AFC. Yeah, AFC East.
AFC East. I'm going with the Bills. I think it's pretty easy. I personally think it's going to be Buffalo and Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
Okay.
So,
because Tua is down.
It's Patriots and Jets.
Patriots and Jets. It's still kind of early for the Jets, but right now Buffalo is the clear favorite. To win that division. And next up, we got the AFC North.
This one's kind of wild. It's kind of wild to see Baltimore and Cincinnati are both 0-2 right now.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh's 2-0. Good Lord. Justin Fields, man.
I'ma still go ahead. For me, I'ma still pick Baltimore to win this division.
Just to be different, I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
I'm not mad at that. To me, I mean, they really beat Kansas City this weekend, man. That was a win. I mean, it was a bonehead play on the defensive back's part for the pass interference, but
it was pass interference, though.
Yeah, it was. It clearly was. So, I mean, they won, but they didn't win.
Yeah, I got you. All
right, I'm gonna let you pick the AFC South first.
I've got Houston Texans. I mean, I think that's probably the weakest conference there.
Okay, no argument there. I agree.
I mean, I can see Jacksonville, but Jacksonville's 0-2 right now. But I can see them making a late push. But I think they're more of a wild card contender. I think Tennessee is garbage. I think the Colts are garbage. So.
Okay. AFC West.
I mean, you have to go with Kansas City, right? You have to until somebody beats them.
You're right.
I mean, I would love to say the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, but did you see Jim Harbaugh had lined up with 2 tight ends and 2 running backs in the backfield, no wide receivers out?
No, I didn't.
They said, "Welcome back, Jim Harbaugh," and it showed him, and it showed the same lineup with him in Michigan last year. It just basically said,
right.
You can still run the ball. It was funny, but
no, I missed that.
Yeah, no, I got the Chiefs on that one.
Yeah, clearly. All right, bouncing over to the NFC East. Who you got? This is a crazy one too.
It is a crazy one. I'm gonna go with Dallas. Dallas is a regular season MVP type team, so I can see them winning it and then losing in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay. I'm gonna go Philly.
Yeah, I thought about that. But yeah, I could see that. I think they're both going to be in the playoffs.
I don't think I'll make a bold prediction here that Dallas doesn't make the playoffs.
God, I hope you're right. God, I hope you're right. Nothing will make me happier.
That's
except Green Bay not making it.
Right. That's my bold prediction.
Okay.
Tonight. Okay.
I'm gonna write it down.
Let me see. NFC North.
Oh, easily the Detroit Lions. Easily. You got the Bears, don't you?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I would love to pick them. Yeah, I mean, you see that back there, right? You see that, don't you?
Yeah.
I would love to, man, but I don't. I can't deal in emotion and feelings. I think I'm gonna make another prediction. I think Minnesota is going to make a push for it.
Mm.
I really do. I think that's, a lot of people had them picked last in the division, and they are far from looking like a last place team. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
It's between Detroit and Minnesota. I'm gonna pick. The Bears are not gonna. I don't think they're gonna make a push for the playoffs at all. At least, I mean, after the first 2 games, I'm just doing an assessment. This is all of assessment after the first 2 games.
Okay.
Outside of
Fair
Kansas
enough.
City and Buffalo.
You hate your team, is what you're saying. You hate your team.
I'm disappointed in my team.
Oh, that's even worse. I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Okay. NFC South.
To me, this is the most interesting one because, like I said, New Orleans Saints have looked amazing in the first 2 games. But Tampa Bay has looked pretty good as well. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
Okay. And I'm gonna go with NO.
Okay. You're not going to go with Carolina?
Yeah, I think they're gonna make a push for 0-17.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad.
And we're gonna come back to that after we make this last pick.
Okay.
NFC West.
My wife is super frustrated right now because Christian McCaffrey just went on the IR. I don't know if you saw that Deebo Samuel is going to be out for a couple of weeks.
I got Christian in one of my leagues too.
Yeah.
Both of my leagues, I have Christian McCaffrey.
She's got both of them on her fantasy team. Christian McCaffrey, losing Christian McCaffrey's tough, but I think losing Deebo is
yeah.
I think he's the heart and soul of that team. So So with both of those players out for a little bit, I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow. That's hard, man. You know what? I'm gonna still stick with San Francisco. I think they're gonna find a way to get it done.
Okay. I mean, they were one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl to begin with.
Yeah.
And I guess before we would get back onto Carolina, I guess a little public service announcement. My wife yelled at me last week when I made it seem like she said that I'm running her fantasy football team.
I mean,
she literally texted me at work the next day when she was listening to it. She's like, "How dare you tell people that you're running my fantasy?" I was like, "I didn't say I was running it." She said, "You said you have a fantasy football team." So, in fairness to everybody out there listening, it's my wife's fantasy football team. What I was implying was that because she has a fantasy football team, now I'm invested. She asks me questions. I pay attention to her players. I give her advice. It's her fantasy football team.
Okay. So, are you picking the starting lineups on Sundays, or is she doing that on her own?
No, she picks them. She picks them. Like I said, she asks me questions, and when I notice players are hurt and things like that, I might say, "Hey," like I said, I was the one that informed her last night about Deebo Samuels, and she looked like she wanted to strangle me.
Okay.
But like I'll give her advice. Like I heard today, that the Kareem Hunt just signed with Kansas City because of Pacheco being hurt, and I'm immediately texting her like, "Hey, you should see if Kareem Hunt's available because she's got some running back issues with McCaffrey."
Well, it sounds like you were her advisor and her publicist.
Yeah. I'm protecting her. She protects me.
Oh man. I'll probably get a text from her tonight.
It'll be tomorrow when she actually listens to this. It won't be.
Oh man. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we picked the favorites, and speaking of Carolina, what's your thoughts on Bryce Young getting benched?
It's funny. Like I said, I mean, they're so bad that it's not Bryce Young. I mean, I don't think he's that great, but I think it was Adam Thielen maybe that said something about it. He kind of said, he said, no, it's a team thing. It's not Bryce Young, but I felt the same way when he got drafted too. Like, so because they traded to get to him. I thought he was overrated. Like I said, I didn't think that he was going to be a star. And I don't know if you remember when they drafted him. I mean, everybody was talking him up too, kind of like they do every year with whoever the number one overall pick is. But I read something today that said they're basically talking about how poorly the organization is ran. They traded McCaffrey, or they got rid of McCaffrey. They got rid of DJ Moore and Burns. All stud players in their primes. They've gotten rid of more first-round draft picks than they've picked up. And instead of getting C.J. Stroud, they got Bryce Young. It's kind of like, wow, how to run a program into the ground.
And they're still trading away for DJ Moore because we got their second-round pick coming up.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's tough. But like I said, I mean, C.J. Stroud, I think they said, since he's played, he's got the best touchdown to interception ratio in the league or something like that. And then Bryce Young, who was picked one pick ahead of him, has the worst touchdown to interception ratio in the league. So,
I'm probably gonna blow your mind here, but the NFL, these teams that they draft these rookies, man, and they throw them in there and expecting this magic to happen right away. I mean, you have your your exceptions. I mean, C.J. Stroud did, magnificently well last season. I think, Dan Marino, maybe John Elway. I mean, you really got to think who won, coming right in.
Yeah.
But to me, I think that Green Bay does it better than anybody.
Yeah.
I really do. What developing quarterbacks, they see, what Brett Favre, they drafted Aaron Rodgers, and I think Aaron Rodgers set for 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
3 to 4 seasons, and just sat and learned, and Aaron Rodgers got to his 10-year mark. Green Bay is already scouting for the next guy for him to sit, 3 to 4 years, with Jordan Love. Right. Now, granted, as I said, I got to see more from Jordan, of course, but I think that is the perfect system to run for quarterbacks. Tom Brady, he was behind, Drew Bledsoe for a minute. It was. I think that's very beneficial for the quarterback. And when it's not, when they do draft these players and they don't sit, behind somebody, or they don't have, that opportunity to sit behind somebody, they throw them out there, man. They expect them to work these wonders and save the organization. And I think it's very unfair to the player.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times, like they were saying, Caleb Williams is in a little bit of different situation because the Bears weren't the worst team. But yeah, a lot of times, they're getting drafted to one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're bad for a reason, and they're not just bad because they don't have a quarterback. It's usually they're bad because they don't have the offensive line. They don't have other stars. They don't have defensive players. I mean, it's like you said, it's to just throw them out there with no weapons and no protection and just say, here, go win us some ball games. So that it doesn't happen very often. And like I said, I agree. Green Bay obviously knows what they're doing because, I mean, they had 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time over a 30-year period. I mean, that just doesn't happen very often. But you were right. I am kind of shocked that you started to just glaze Green Bay. Did not expect that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I gotta give credit where credit is due. They do it right, at least in that department.
Another public service announcement. My kids are going to be mad at me tomorrow that I used the term glazed. So I'm not supposed to use that word. They cringe when I use their words. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, man. I think it's very unfair, man. And this. And this poor kid is. I don't know. I think he's. But all of the quarterbacks look pretty good for Alabama, right? When Nick Saban was there, even if they didn't go on to do big things in the NFL, I mean, he always had a good, talented quarterback. But the size of Bryce Young was always a question mark.
Yeah, when I just saw a picture of him earlier today, like they had the picture of him headlining saying, that he's been benched. I mean, he looks like a high school quarterback. I mean, he's not a big guy.
Yeah. So, and I think when he got drafted, the talk was, he's, they got the perfect people there for him, to bring him along. And Frank Wright is there and this and that. And I'm just like, oh my God. And it just, I think these coaches make a mistake and, think they're just going to work in any scheme. You've got to, work around the strengths of the quarterback that you have.
Right.
Everybody can't do the same thing. And, I was listening to someone, I can't remember who it was, but they say the most important coach on your coaching staff It's not the head coach. It's not the offensive coordinator, but it's the offensive line coach. That is the most important coach that you have.
I can see that.
And I thought about it, and I was like, "Whoa, that was pretty heavy, man." I can't disagree with it.
Yeah, I think the offensive line is the most important part of the team, and they're so unheralded. They don't get the credit that they deserve. But you can't do anything without an offensive line.
No, not at all. I don't care who you got. You could have Bill Belichick and Buddy Ryan and Andy Reid. Get all of the best coaches there, but if that offensive line is not together, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. But I think that's it.
Well, almost. I told you earlier today. We're doing top 5 tight ends today. Did you do your research on that?
Kinda.
You're looking at something.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Sure. I feel like our tight ends are going to be different than last week with our running backs. Let's see. We had the exact same 5 running backs last week. Did we do receivers or running backs?
Receivers.
We had the exact same 5 receivers, just different order. So yeah, I'll start. Number 5, I got Jason Witten from the Cowboys.
Okay.
Number 4, I've got Travis Kelce. I think if he was to retire today, he'd be up there. So I got Travis Kelce. Taylor Swift be damned, but I've got Travis Kelce. Number 3, I've got Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates was a monster. Number 2, I've got Tony Gonzalez. I think Tony Gonzalez is the prototype for what we see now today. I think he's the one that started it, where they can do everything. They're a receiving threat, blocking threat, just an athlete. So Tony Gonzalez, and I almost had Tony Gonzalez at number 1, to be perfectly honest with you. But number 1, I've got Gronkowski. I think Gronkowski was just something different. I don't know if I loved his attitude too. Gronkowski to me is number 1. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add to any of it, but yeah, those are my 5. I know there was some other ones that I kind of considered, but I didn't really see them play. So that's my rule. I have to see them play.
Yeah. My believe it or not, I had Travis Kelce at 5.
Okay.
I had Jason Witten at 4.
Oh, okay.
I had Gonzalez is 1 for me.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, I went back and forth with that one.
Gronkowski was 2, and I had a hard time picking a 5th. It's so many, man. And this is the first time I ever done a list like this for tight ends.
Yeah. It's not one that's usually talked about. Yeah. So do you have a 5th one?
I don't.
Really? But I thought you said that number 5 was. So you just don't have a number 3?
Yeah, I only came up with 4.
Oh, okay.
I only came up with 4.
So I'll tell you who my 2 honorable mentions were. One of my honorable mentions was Kellen Winslow, but I don't really remember him that well. He retired in '87, which is right around the time that, like I said, I probably started watching football in like '84, '85. So I remember the name, but then the other one to me was Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp was
how could I forget Shannon?
Yeah. Yeah, Shannon Sharp was close to being number 5 for me. It was between him and Witten, and I ended up going with Witten.
I don't know why, and I'm a fan of Shannon. I don't know how I didn't think of him, because I immediately started going back, like you said, like early '90s and stuff like that. Yeah. I started thinking like Jay Novacek and the guy for San Fran,
Dwight Clark.
No, not Dwight Clark. The same time that Jay Novacek was playing for Dallas.
Drawing a blank.
Yeah, they had a pretty good tight end too.
Okay.
But I was all over the place.
So would you say now that you thought about it that Shannon Sharp's on there? Or no?
I think I will put Shannon Sharp. Probably I'll have to put him number 2.
Oh wow! You went from not remembering.
Yeah.
So he's number 2.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp was a beast, man.
He was a beast.
Yeah.
Do you remember his brother, Sterling Sharp? I liked Sterling Sharp.
And his career was ended, for injury.
Yeah.
I forget the numbers now, but when Shannon did his Hall of Fame speech, and he said, "Go look at the numbers of my brother when he played versus the top, receivers during that time, and come back and talk to me." And I was like, "Wow." I mean, he was up there with with Rice and all of them. He was right there.
Yeah.
So they that Shannon, the Sharp boys, the Kelsey boys, I think those are. It's another set of brothers too that was pretty good. I think but I think I got the Sharps as the my number 1 brother tandem that played in the NFL.
Yeah, I can see that. There was the Barbers. Do you remember the Barbers? Marion.
Oh yeah. They were good too.
I can't believe you forgot Shannon Sharp with him being in the news so much this past week.
Yeah, I can't explain that one, man. I'm almost ashamed of myself.
Yeah. What do you think of what do you think of him being in the news?
Some of me think, he did it on purpose.
I've heard
you
that.
Can't. I mean, how do you? It takes some clicking and maneuvering to go live.
Yeah.
That's not something that just happens from you throwing your phone on the bed.
You want to hear something wild that I heard?
What's that?
So
I think I know what you're gonna say too.
So I've never heard this, but apparently there's some rumors that he's gay.
Yeah, I knew it. And
that they said that he put that out there on purpose to try to dispel those rumors. I'd never heard that before, so I don't. Like I said,
that's been floating around for a minute. I never believed it. But it's a lot of stuff I don't believe, and that's in the news. But go ahead.
Shannon Sharp, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, but I'm sure you're not. I do not think that you're gay. I don't think that's what you did. So just keep that in your mind. And if you want to have me on Club Shay Shay to discuss our podcast, I'm available. I'm available to you.
Oh my goodness, man, that was classic. Hey, yeah, Shannon, if you're listening, man. Hey, we don't think you're gay, bro.
We don't think you're gay at all, man. We don't.
I never thought that you were gay. But put them bags down that you be carrying. No, I will say that.
Yeah.
But nah, Shannon, man, I think he's I think he good for TV. I think he's good for what he's doing. I think he's very entertaining. And some of his sayings and slogans that he be coming up with, I'd be like, oh my God, where did he get that from?
You know, he's one of those guys that a lot of what he says I don't agree with, but I can still very much enjoy him and enjoy his perspective, even if I don't agree with it, which is hard to do sometimes, you know. So to me, that earns a lot of my respect. Like I said, I think he's good for TV. I think his perspective is good. I do think he rides LeBron James balls a little bit, and I don't like that.
Oh, man.
But whatever. We'll talk about LeBron James in another episode. But I agree. It's time to go.
Oh yeah, I could do a whole hour on that.
And we will. We will for sure.
Yeah.
Because I got plenty to say about that cat.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yeah. We'll wait till basketball season for that to come around. But
okay.
But hey, what are you looking forward to this week? Anything in particular, or just normal Lions, Bears, Michigan stuff?
Yeah, of course I'm looking for more improvement on the Bears. I definitely want to see Michigan and USC. It's going to be kind of tough for me this week because we are traveling back to Chicago for some family business. So I'm going to try to get, what I can get. But the Bears have the Colts coming up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Who does the Lions have?
Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
So,
that should be a win for you guys.
maybe.
And I'm expecting us to win too.
Well, hopefully when we talk next week, we're a lot happier about everything. Yeah.
I want to see how Dallas bounces back after that blowout.
Yeah.
And I wonder, who are they playing this week? Oh, they got the Ravens. Oh my God, that's got to be the game of the week.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I'll watch that one for sure.
Yeah, and the Ravens 0-2.
Yeah.
And it's in Dallas.
That's gonna be a good one. I'm looking forward to that. Well,
and it's a 4:30 game.
Perfect. Well, hey, to everybody that's listening, thanks for listening. We appreciate your support. But if we do this podcast, we're available on podcast platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Amazon and Audible, or we're on YouTube as well. So if you're listening to this, do us a big favor, subscribe, check out our social media links, and so we can keep doing this for you guys. Until next week, Jeff.
All right, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Can't wait to see y'all next week.
All right. Go Blue.
Go Bears. Bear down, baby.